Chosen one, I want you to pause for a moment and listen closely. This moment, right now, is not by accident. You didn't stumble across this message because of mere curiosity. No, you are here because your spirit is ready. This message is not for everyone, it's for those who have been chosen, those who have walked the divine path of God. If you are still here, it means you have been marked, called for a higher purpose, and what you are about to hear will not just be another passing thought, it will resonate with your spirit on a deep level. This message is one of confirmation, one that will shed light on why your life has unfolded in the way it has, and most importantly, what you are undeniably becoming. God has been working on you in ways you couldn't have understood at the moment. The confirmations have been quiet, subtle, and gentle, weaving their way through your life like divine threads that you didn't recognize at the time. But now, as you read these words, everything begins to click. The journey you've been on, the struggles you've faced, and the lessons you've learned were never random. They were all part of God's plan to transform you into the person you were always meant to be. By the end of this message, something will settle deep within you. You will no longer wonder why things happened the way they did or question your path. The understanding will wash over you. The time has come for you to step into what God has been preparing for you all along. You will no longer walk in confusion. You will walk in divine clarity. Before God reveals your purpose to the world, He first whispers it to your spirit. Over the years, you've experienced moments, quiet moments, that felt significant, yet you might not have understood why. Perhaps it was a sudden change in direction that didn't make sense at the time, or a feeling of unease when you were in a situation that others seemed comfortable in. Maybe there were people who walked into your life, said something you never forgot, or events that occurred in strange patterns. These moments weren't just coincidences. They were God's whispers to you, preparing you for the calling you couldn't yet fully comprehend. This is how God works with His chosen ones. He speaks to you in ways that bypass the logical mind, speaking directly to your spirit. In moments of stillness or confusion, when you were least expecting it, God's confirmation arrived. Maybe a scripture you read at just the right time, or a conversation that left an imprint on your heart far longer than expected. These confirmations are not loud or dramatic, they are gentle nudges from God, guiding you to where He wants you to be. And as time passed, you began to notice them more clearly. Every small whisper, every subtle redirection, was preparing you for the moment you now find yourself in. God has been speaking to you, and the confirmation you've longed for is right here. Chosen one, the discomfort you felt in certain situations was not a sign of failure, it was a divine redirection. For most of your life, you've been placed in environments, relationships, and jobs that were misaligned with your true calling. Maybe you've tried to force yourself to fit in, to make sense of situations that didn't feel right. But every time you felt uneasy or restless, that wasn't a failure on your part, it was your spirit recognizing that you were meant for something greater. God allowed these feelings of discomfort to arise because He knew you weren't designed to remain in these places. Your spirit was destined for more than just stability or acceptance. It needed purpose. God was reshaping you to align with something far beyond the ordinary. What you saw as discomfort was God preparing you to move forward, step by step, into a greater purpose. It's easy to look at others and think that their paths are easier or more straightforward, but God doesn't call us to take the easiest path, He calls us to the right one. You were never meant to settle for what everyone else considers enough. And that discomfort you felt, that feeling of being out of place, was God calling you away from what was temporary and into what was eternal. Don't view your discomfort as a setback, it is divine preparation. Trust that it was never about you being wrong, but rather about God repositioning you for what's next. There were seasons in your life when God seemed silent. When you prayed and didn't hear His voice. When you sought guidance but felt as though heaven had closed its doors to you. In those moments, you may have felt abandoned, confused, and even a little lost. But I want you to understand something very important: silence is not the absence of God. When God goes quiet, He is not absent. He is training you to rely on what He has already said. Silence is often part of the refining process. During these silent seasons, God was teaching you to trust what you already knew in your spirit, to believe in His promises even when the external world didn't reflect them. These times of quiet were not meant to punish you, they were meant to strengthen you. They taught you patience, faith, and trust. You were learning to rely on God's word instead of your own understanding. Through this silence, God was teaching you to listen to His still, small voice within, rather than looking for external confirmations. The silence wasn't empty, it was full of intention. It was in this quiet that your faith grew. God's silence served to deepen your relationship with Him. It allowed you to move beyond the need for constant reassurance and to step into a deeper level of trust. So when the noise of the world grows loud, and when you find yourself in another season of silence, know that it is part of your preparation. Trust it. Embrace it. It is not abandonment, it is growth. Chosen one, there were moments when everything seemed to fall apart. Relationships ended. Jobs were lost. Dreams you once held close seemed to slip away. These moments, while painful, were not signs of defeat. They were part of the divine process of breaking and refining. God doesn't elevate unbroken vessels. He allows the breaking, not to harm you, but to free you. The breaking process was a necessary step to prepare you for the calling on your life. What you thought was loss was actually God's way of removing the things that could not go with you into the next season. The people, the careers, the comforts you once relied on, God had to remove those things because they were distracting you from your purpose. Each loss, each difficult moment, was a necessary pruning. God was removing what was not aligned with His purpose for you. He didn't want you to stay attached to anything that would hinder your growth. The breaking was never meant to destroy you, it was meant to prepare you. What seemed like loss was actually God's protection. You are now stronger, wiser, and more prepared for what lies ahead. The breaking has done its work. You are now ready to step into your purpose. Now that the breaking process has completed, you are beginning to understand what you are becoming. You are not becoming more religious, more visible, or more flashy. No, you are becoming a living instrument of God's will. This is the key to your transformation. God is not shaping you for external validation, He is shaping you for alignment. You've always had a deep sensitivity to the world around you, an ability to sense when something is right or wrong, when people are aligned with God's will or when they are walking in their own way. This is not a weakness, it is a gift that God has been refining within you. Your life, now, will speak before your mouth opens. People will be drawn to you not because of your appearance, but because of the light you carry. This is not something you will force or manipulate. It will come naturally as you continue to walk in alignment with God's will. You are becoming someone whose presence shifts the atmosphere. People will want to know why you carry such peace, such clarity. It won't be about you, it will be about the God you carry. You are becoming a living instrument through which God will speak to the world. You were never meant to blend in. You were meant to stand out, to carry His presence wherever you go. With this transformation comes a great responsibility. You are not being raised to dominate people. You are being raised to serve God's truth. Your leadership will not be based on control or manipulation. Instead, it will be based on humility, discernment, and wisdom. Your words will carry weight, not because of your charisma, but because of your alignment with God's truth. As you step into this leadership role, you will notice that people respond to you differently. Some will be drawn to you, while others may feel uncomfortable around you. This isn't because you are better than anyone, it is because your clarity exposes the misalignments in others. Your presence will challenge people to confront the truths they may have avoided. This is not your doing, it is the work of God within you. God is preparing you to lead with integrity, to influence not through force, but through truth. Your role as a leader is not to control others, but to serve as a reference point. People will observe your consistency, your peace, and your discernment. They will follow your example, not because of your authority, but because of your alignment with God's will. As you reflect on your journey, you may recall moments in your life where something felt off. Maybe there were people who walked into your life and spoke words that you couldn't shake, even if they seemed insignificant at the time. Maybe certain patterns kept repeating themselves in your life, things that seemed like coincidences but, in hindsight, were signs of divine intervention. These subtle moments were not random, they were God's whispers, gently guiding you toward the higher calling He has placed on your life. Before God makes His plans for you public, He first reveals them to your spirit in quiet, personal moments. It's easy to dismiss these subtle moments as coincidence, intuition, or random occurrences. However, in reality, these are God's confirmations, carefully designed to prepare you for the purpose He has for you. Over time, these confirmations become more frequent and clearer, until one day, you realize that everything you've experienced has been part of a much larger plan. One of the most significant ways God confirms His will is through repetition. When God is speaking to your spirit, He often repeats messages through different people, circumstances, and even media. Scriptures you read at just the right time, words spoken to you by a stranger, or dreams that carry deep emotional weight are all part of the confirmation process. These repeated signs are not meant to impress you, but to prepare you for what's coming next. For many chosen ones, this process is often slow and subtle, but if you look closely, you will see how God has been speaking to you your entire life. Even when you didn't understand or recognize it at the time, your spirit was receiving confirmation. God's confirmations often come before understanding, because the spirit can perceive truth faster than the mind can comprehend it. You may have noticed moments in your life when you felt urged to move away from certain people, habits, or situations, even though there was no logical explanation. This is not overthinking. This is discernment awakening within you. God was preparing your spirit to understand the deeper truth that would eventually be revealed. You have always been more connected to God's whispers than you realize. And now, as you read these words, the confirmation is clear. You are being prepared for something greater. If you have ever found yourself in situations where you felt completely out of place, whether in relationships, jobs, or environments, you are not alone. Many chosen ones experience a profound sense of discomfort in spaces where others seem to thrive. Jobs that pay well, relationships that seem perfect on the surface, and lifestyles that others consider ideal, might leave you feeling empty, restless, and unfulfilled. This discomfort, while unsettling, is not a sign of failure or weakness. On the contrary, it is a sign that your spirit is misaligned with the environment you find yourself in. God does not place His chosen ones in environments that are only designed for survival or approval. He places them in situations where their inner transformation can take place. The discomfort you felt is not something to fear, but something to embrace. It is God's way of gently guiding you out of what no longer serves your purpose, and into something far greater. Think about the times when you felt like you were forcing yourself to fit in, smiling outwardly while shrinking inwardly, showing up physically while disengaging spiritually. God allowed these feelings of discomfort to show you that you were never meant to settle for what everyone else was comfortable with. Your purpose is not about fitting in, it's about standing out. The discomfort you've experienced is divine repositioning. It is God's way of showing you that you were not designed to be comfortable in environments that could not hold your future. Your spirit requires purpose, not just stability. Every time you felt restless or out of place, it was a divine signal that you were being repositioned for something higher. Don't see your discomfort as a punishment. See it as preparation for the greater work God is about to reveal in your life. There are seasons in life when God seems distant. You pray, but it feels as though your words fall flat. You seek direction, but the path remains unclear. You may feel abandoned, as if God has forgotten you. But what if I told you that silence is often one of the most profound tools God uses to shape His chosen ones? God's silence is not abandonment. It is an invitation to deepen your trust in Him. In moments of quiet, when nothing seems to change, God is preparing you in ways you cannot see. He is training you to rely on what He has already said to you rather than seeking constant reassurance. Silence is God's way of helping you stand firm in your faith without relying on external confirmation. It's easy to seek reassurance when you don't understand what's happening, but silence teaches you to trust without needing to hear every answer. Many times, God remains silent because He is teaching you to move in faith, even when the full picture is not yet clear. Think about how many times you've had to trust God without understanding why He was asking you to do something. Those moments of silence were not meant to discourage you, they were meant to strengthen you. Silence is a refining process that builds your inner strength. When you learn to trust God in the silence, your faith grows stronger. During these quiet seasons, God is training you to listen to His voice more attentively. The distractions of the world often drown out His whispers, but silence allows you to tune in and hear Him more clearly. Trust in this season of silence. It is not wasted time, it is time being used to build your faith, sharpen your discernment, and prepare you for what's next. Chosen ones are often broken before they are elevated. This is not a process of destruction, but of divine refinement. God does not elevate unbroken vessels because the weight of responsibility cannot be carried by someone who hasn't been tested and purified. The breaking you've experienced, whether it's loss, disappointment, or betrayal, was not meant to harm you. It was meant to free you from everything that would hinder your journey. There are parts of us that need to be broken before we can step into our true calling. Pride, fear, dependency, these things are not always visible, but they reside deep within us. If God were to elevate you without breaking these parts of you, they would sabotage your destiny. The breaking process is not easy. It's painful. But it is necessary. Every relationship that was removed, every door that was closed, every plan that collapsed, God allowed these things to happen because He was preparing you for something greater. What felt like loss was actually God's protection. You were not losing what was meant for you, you were shedding what was never meant to go with you into your future. When God breaks us, He is not destroying us, He is refining us. The breaking process is God's way of ensuring that when He elevates us, we are not only capable of carrying the weight, but we are also capable of carrying it with humility and integrity. You are being prepared for a higher purpose, and the breaking is part of that preparation. Trust the process, for it is leading you to a place of divine purpose and destiny. As you move through the breaking and the refinement, you may begin to sense that you are not becoming more religious, more visible, or more of what the world expects you to be. No, you are becoming a living instrument. You are becoming someone who doesn't just follow God's teachings, but someone who carries His presence wherever you go. This is the difference between following a set of rules and living in alignment with the divine. As you step into your true identity, you will notice that your life begins to speak before your words do. You don't need to announce who you are, your presence will do that for you. People will notice the peace, the clarity, and the discernment you carry. Your life will become a reference point for others. They will be drawn to your alignment, to the way you walk with God, even when they don't fully understand it. This transformation is not about external performance. It's about internal alignment. You are no longer trying to fit into a religious box or impress others with your actions. You are learning to move with God, to carry His presence in a way that speaks louder than any words ever could. The more you align yourself with His will, the more your life will reflect His truth, and the more people will be drawn to that truth. You are becoming a living instrument, and as such, your life will be a message to the world. It is no longer about what you say, it's about who you are and how you live. Let this transformation take root in you, and watch as your presence becomes a powerful testimony to the power of God working in your life. As you step into your true calling, you will find that leadership and influence will come naturally to you. However, this influence is not about control or power. It is about responsibility. You are not called to dominate people, but to serve them with humility and wisdom. The more aligned you become with God's will, the more you will notice that people will seek you out for guidance. They may not fully understand why they are drawn to you, but they will recognize the clarity and peace you carry. This is the power of divine alignment. When you are aligned with God, your life will naturally attract others who need what you have. This influence, however, is not something to be taken lightly. With great influence comes great responsibility. God does not elevate His chosen ones for the sake of recognition. He elevates them because He trusts them to carry out His will on earth. You will be asked to lead not through force or manipulation, but through love, humility, and service. Your leadership will come through your example, not your words. Your life will be the message that inspires others to follow God's path. As you continue to walk in alignment, the influence you carry will grow, but remember, this influence is not for your own gain, it is to serve the greater good. Stay humble, stay focused, and continue to lead by example. God is using you to make an impact in ways you cannot yet fully see. Before God reveals your purpose to the world, He whispers it to your spirit. Long before anything becomes visible or public, God is already speaking to you through subtle confirmations. These confirmations might not always be loud or dramatic. In fact, they often come in quiet, almost imperceptible ways. You might have experienced moments where you felt a nudge to move in a certain direction, or you sensed that something was about to change in your life, even though your mind couldn't make sense of it. These early confirmations are not meant to impress you or show off God's power, they are meant to prepare your spirit for the greater understanding that will come later. The more you look back on your life, the more you will realize how these confirmations were scattered along your journey, confirming that God had been speaking to you all along, even when you didn't fully understand it. Sometimes, these confirmations come in the form of repeated messages from different sources, whether through scripture, people, or even dreams that leave an emotional impact. God speaks in a language that transcends the intellect and speaks directly to the heart. The more you trust these confirmations, the more you will understand that God has been shaping your path for a long time. This phase of divine confirmation may have felt confusing at times, but it was essential in building your trust and faith. Your spirit was discerning the truth before your mind could even comprehend it. The subtlety of God's confirmations only heightens their significance, as they prepare you for the deeper revelations that will unfold in time. Chosen one, you are on the brink of something significant. The path that has brought you to this moment has been full of challenges, but each challenge was a necessary step in your preparation. The breaking, the discomfort, the silence, it was all part of God's divine design to align you with your true purpose. You are not the same person you once were. You have been transformed, refined, and prepared for what lies ahead. The journey has not been easy, but it has been necessary. The trials you have faced have strengthened you, and now, as you stand on the threshold of your purpose, you are ready to walk forward with confidence. Walk forward with faith, humility, and confidence, knowing that God has already confirmed your purpose. You are exactly where you need to be. The release is coming, and when it does, you will be ready. You are no longer the person you once were. You have been transformed, refined, and aligned with God's will. You are becoming a vessel that carries His truth and His presence into the world. The influence you will have will not be based on your own strength or ability. It will be based on your alignment with God's purpose for your life. Trust the process. Trust that everything you have experienced has led you to this point. Your journey is not over, it is just beginning. Continue to walk in faith, knowing that everything you have been through has been a part of your divine preparation. You are ready for what comes next. God is with you, and He has already confirmed your path. Now, all that is left for you to do is walk in it with confidence, humility, and unwavering faith. God has confirmed your purpose, your identity, and your calling. It's now time for you to walk forward, not in fear or anxiety, but in confidence and peace. You are not just another person, you are a chosen vessel, a living instrument of God's will. You have been equipped for this moment. Your role is not to force your way into the future but to trust God's timing. He has already confirmed everything you need. Now, all that is left is for you to walk in obedience, staying true to your divine calling. Everything you have been through has prepared you for this. You are ready.